here. We'll make opinions crystal clear. Champ chat. Champ chat. Let's see who makes that watch this week. Another transfer rumor strong all week. Oh, champ chat. Champ chat. We like to talk the Reds and the Blues while we bring you all of the biggest news. Champ chat. Champ chat. Oh, champ chat. Champ chat.
I can't help it. Every week I have to do it. I have to sing along to that tune. Welcome back, everybody. It is Champ Chat time again. I'm Paddy Power. I'm here with my friends Aaron and John. And it's another week to talk about the championship. Now, last week, I sent a little message to John and said that if you're not here, we're going to make fun of you. Now, we didn't really make fun of him last week, so well, he's here this week, so let's just do it to his face. So there'll be Birmingham talk tonight. There might be Norwich. I think we have an article on Norwich and not paying people minimum wage, which is interesting. There has been some stuff in the news about Sheffield Wednesday. They're getting a lot of little publicity here, trying to push the EFL to let them away with their minus 15 points. So we can do a little bit of that. The Swans have been salty managers. No, CEO this time, actually, sorry. CEO came out and what was it? Was it an open letter? Yeah, something like that.
I think it was in their thing for the game. Yeah, the what do you call that?
Yeah, I think it was some form of an article on something he said in an interview. So yeah. It was a kind of a reprint. But anyway, he's not too happy about the coverage. The poor old Swans, they're not getting enough coverage. And Wrexham came to town, dominated them, and also took all the limelight. So a few things apparently are incorrect in it. So we maybe have a look at that. Then why not have a look at who is in the promotion race? Maybe a quick look at the relegation race. Maybe piss all over Leicester because they're going to get relegated. If we have, we might even throw some shade at Spurs.
Yes, so we have to, because they're getting fucking relegated. Spurs are going down.
We don't want them to go down.
I do. Just because.
Oh, we're still hoping not to be here. So
yeah.
keep hoping.
You know what though? I'm sorry. If they come down, I have to fly over to their lovely little stadium and go to the away match. Just to see them in the championship. That'd be hilarious. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So we didn't really discuss any of this. Where would we like to start tonight? Anywhere in particular?
What do you got first? Just let her rip.
Oh, let's just hit John then. John, are you playing No Fear football at the moment?
No, we're not. But neither are Derby.
Okay.
So, do you know something? I loved that from Eustus. I actually, I heard that online. I thought, do you know what? Fair play. Absolutely fair play.
Okay, well, I have it, so I'm going to play it. So let's play it first, and then you can say what you want.
I thought it was a dominant performance from the first minute to the last. Very proud of the effort of the group. We were on the front foot. We played, no fear football today, and the way we went about our business was really pleasing. And when you go away on Monday night away to Portsmouth and put a really dogged performance in there and come away with 1-0, it's always nice then to then back it up with a home performance like that and get another 3 points.
I love that.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know John, just give him a little so what was so funny about him saying no fear football? Because some people might not know.
When he was let go as Blues manager, the line came out from Gary Cook that they were looking for when they brought Rooney in, was to play no fear football, which was suggested that John Eustus doesn't play no fear football. So it was a witty retort, shall I say, from John Eustus. And hey, he deserves to take his moment and have a pop. The stupid thing was they beat us playing not no fear football. And the guy that actually came up with this whole no fear football art was basically pushed out the back door at Birmingham over a year ago. So it was kind of like, you've had your moment, but you've had a pop at a guy that's not even there anymore. So it kind of, but hey, it was a good soundbite and it got some clicks, didn't it? So
yeah. Okay. So what did you think of the matches then? Because I also have some more clips here that the Birmingham fans are not too happy about the play. What did you think?
Dreadful, to be honest. The last two games have just been passive. No, I won't say desire. There's been work rate and there's been sort of energy and stuff, but there's been no emphasis to try and win the game. I mean, we played against Derby where it was just it felt like we were for the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes just merely trying to survive, and you kind of thought, well, maybe home you start that's what you try and do away from home. But the thing was, we didn't do anything different for the entire game. Even when we were losing 1-0, there wasn't really. We didn't actually sort of go for it to try and get back in the game. So, and it's same with Sheffield United. They were down to 10 men, and we had all the ball, but there was no. I mean, we tried, but there was no. It just, Plan A didn't work, and we didn't have a Plan B. Plan B was to do Plan A with different players, which didn't work again.
Okay, so here's a clip. Yeah, not the first time that's been heard. We actually complained about it as well at one point, just a little bit, because we didn't like it when we first started doing it ourselves.
I remember when who was it? I can't remember who it was. Somebody was there was a few that were calling Matty James Matty Sideways.
Yeah.
It was
for a bit until the rest of the team caught up.
Yeah. It was.
It's one of those, isn't it? I don't mind going sideways or backwards if there's a method to it, or there's a plan.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with us at the moment. We just don't seem to have a plan. There's no movement. There's no. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people saying that's coached out of them. There's a lot of people saying it's tactical. The players have stopped playing. There's multiple different reasons for it, but yeah.
Is it just like a lack of directness? Like you just don't ever go for the killer ball? Is that what the problem is, or is it just execution not there?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think Davies as a manager, I think, is extremely sort of concentrated on how he wants his team to set up and how he wants to play, and they are coached in that way. So I think it stifles a lot of our attacking players, is what I would say. We've got, the likes of Patrick Roberts, Stansfield as well, and Damari Gray. You've got all these players which they just seem to be almost sort of having to play with the handbrake on. They seem to be tentative to actually just do what they do naturally. And I think that's one of the biggest problems, that we're so predictable. As I've said many times, it's just, I think we are too easy to play against, basically. And I think we're one of those sides in this league that, as I've said, I seem to say every game going into it, if you're the opposition manager, you know what we're going to do, you know how we're going to set up, you know what our substitutes are going to be, you know what time the substitutes are going to be, and you know what the substitutes are going to try and do. So it's kind of like, well, any manager who's an experienced, decent manager at this level is going to be able to set up and counter that. Chris Wilder was the prime example. He knew exactly what we were going to try and do. Even though they went down to 10 men, he took a front player off, brought on another midfielder or defender, blocked up the space, and just went, break us down. I know you can't. And we couldn't.
Yeah. And final video then, just to push through it. At the end of the match, people were not too happy. Not too nice, not too friendly.
Tell me how you
I
really feel.
I actually think that's the Derby fans, by the way.
Okay.
Was it really?
I
Okay.
think so, yeah. The Blues fans are to the left of that. The ones
Okay.
chanting "you're in shit" are the Derby fans.
Okay. It was posted as if it was the Blues tune. It could have been obviously just put up a bit aside though.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think there was definitely some expletives from the away fans, but I don't think there was that. So
Okay, maybe not so bad then. That's fair enough. But I have been watching the socials a lot this week, and the tide is definitely turning back around again to say get him out and move on. We deserve better. It's his fault, not the players. Blah blah blah, etc.
it's very hard to sort of make an argument for him. I'm not going to lie. It's you look at the talent that he's got to his disposal, and the talent that was brought in January, and you kind of think, well, we are underperforming, and there's some glaring. I mean, there was a great comment that was put on X yesterday where where basically somebody said, we've just got our best right back from injury. Our other right back has played the last 2 seasons in Turkey, won the Turkish division and played Champions League football. Yet here we are with Celtic's 4th choice defensive midfielder that we purchased still playing right back. And it's like, well, you got a point. It's certain players are clearly. I've heard it on here before. Parky has his favourites. Davis has his favourites, and no matter what form they're in, no matter where Iwata is one of his Peak is one of his favourites. No matter what form they are on, if they are fit, he will shoehorn them in the side somewhere. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's caused a few feathers to be rustled elsewhere where other people are going, well, hold on a minute, they can play whatever level and still get a kit, whereas somebody else makes one mistake in a game and they're thrown out for the next 4 or 5 fixtures. So I don't. My personal opinion is I don't think the dressing room's happy. I think the fans have gotten onto the fact that the ambition of the owners, the players that we brought in, we should be doing better. And by all accounts, top 6 was the requirement this season, and we've fallen quite far short. So it's one of those. I think every club has a moment where you feel like a natural end, and it feels like a natural end for his time. I don't think he'll go before the end of the season. What's the point? You got 7 games. No matter you're not going up, you're not going down. So unless it gets really bad.
I could make the argument if you could get the guy you wanted now. You got a window here where, so if you could get him in right now, if he's not under contract somewhere, whoever you're after, if you get him in now, that gives him 7 games to look at the squad and see what he wants to do in the summer. You know what I mean? So he can be a little more
on the real fire.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, obviously, like you said, you're not going up, you're not going down, but that gives the manager an idea of, okay, yeah, I want to keep him. No, I don't want to keep him. You can get a little more a better look at the players playing maybe his style or whatever. So I could see that argument, but then like you say, if you can't get him in now, or if you don't think you can get who you want now, you might as well just wait till the end of the season.
Yeah, and I sort of half agree with that, but I also think from a football manager's point of view, I don't think they really think in those realms. I think if you were to say an incoming manager, would you rather take over in the summer, or would you want fresh, or do you want you're going to want to take over in the summer, aren't you? Because then you haven't got the baggage of this season. You come in, and of course half the side don't want to be there, or for whatever reason, you have 7 games and you lose 5.
Yeah. Do you want that?
Then you start next season having to pretty much win, straight from the off. So no, I like I said, unless we fall right off the rails and lose the next couple of games, then I don't see him going. I think it's one of those. If he's going to go before the season's end, it'll be now in this international break.
Yeah,
because this is the
they'll
time.
get it
This is,
done. They'll get it
yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even if they did get rid of him, it'll be an interim boss. They wouldn't. I don't see them bringing any. They'll bring in somebody just in a temporary measure to take over to the end of the season.
I heard Wayne Rooney's available. Just,
I
mean, maybe. No.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah.
He's probably improved.
Well, and I tell you what, he's banging the drum, isn't he? He's been going around the places talking about his managerial career, so he's clearly looking to get back in.
Yeah,
I'm liking to hear that he's still blaming the Birmingham fans for his time at Birmingham. So
I would too. Those guys suck.
I know. Yeah. It does make me laugh when I hear and say, "Well, the Birmingham fans didn't take to me, didn't give me a chance and everything." And I was sat there going, "I remember being 3-0 down in the first half against somebody, and the whole side chanting Wayne Rooney, support of him." So pull the other one, Wayne. But no, I don't know. Like I said, I think he'll be. I think it's a pretty much foregone conclusion. Davis will be gone in the summer. Somebody else will come in. Would I be shocked to see him go this international break? No, I wouldn't. The recent form and the performances might, ownership might decide enough is enough. So it's one of those. Could I see him seeing out the season? Absolutely. Could I see him going tomorrow? Absolutely.
It's interesting. It's really interesting because to me, and I don't know how much you'll know more than I do. I don't know how much sway he's really got, but like Tom Brady's mentality, I can't imagine I bet he's dying to get hit for him to be gone. Like he's such a winner, and to have somebody like, if that's the problem, like he seems like the type of guy that would want to fix it right now.
Okay.
Before
John answers that, I've maybe an interesting take on this one.
Yeah,
right?
go ahead.
And we'll see where it lands with John then. I have seen situations before where I think managers have swung the discourse with the backroom managers, top end C-suite, that it's actually the players' problem, not my tactics, my way. It's the players. And if Brady does like him and likes his attitude and how he comes across, I know he's all about results, but could you have this scenario that, he's our guy, we're going to, but they've already done it twice, kind of. They've already restructured the squad. He's had his shot. So where do you land on that, John?
I'd love to add to the conspiracy theories and say that, Tom Brady, this, that, and the other. The honest answer is Tom Brady has little to no input.
Yes, I wondered. I didn't know.
He really doesn't. It's a good showpiece on the outside, but when it comes to football matters, like if they were interviewing managers, yes, absolutely, he'll be involved in the interview process. He'll be involved in that. He's not going to be there deciding whether a manager comes or goes or who comes in. He'll be involved in the process of but he's not going to pick and choose. But by all accounts, him and Brady do get on quite well. They share quite a similar mindset by all accounts, which Brady himself has admitted. But again, I don't think it will be up to Brady. The other
but my potential argument doesn't necessarily land on Brady. It's the whole back management.
Yeah, so. I mean, the elephant in the room is Tom Wagner's, of course, recovering from a stroke.
Yes.
So, yeah. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he suffered a stroke a few weeks or a month or so back. The honest answer is no one actually knows how bad it is. So it's all very quiet, which is understandable. But Wagner is the driving force behind the club. Brady's one thing. Wagner's he takes it to a different level, I think. But I think
that could push things back as well. We don't need to make this decision, so we won't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think possibly if that hadn't happened to Tom Wagner and he was fully healthy and everything going, and yes, I think Davis could be in more trouble. But I think maybe the can might get kicked down the road a little bit. I think the thing was the writing was on the wall when Davis was asked about this season's ambitions and the outcome of the season, and he came out with this line of, well, every club that comes up from League One,
Yes.
the first thing is to make sure you're still in the Championship the following season.
Following
About
season,
survival, and it's like I can understand that in any other League One case, but you've just got promoted with 111 points. You spent an awful lot of money. The ownership, and Tom Wagner has said live on TV numerous times, the ambition this season is top 6. You can't come out and start saying the league's difficult and the first aim is to survive, and if we finish 10th and all that, it's a good start. And it's like, sorry, mate, you may think that, but I'm not sure the ownership are in agreement with that one. So, yeah, like I said, I think the writing's on the wall, and I think come the summer, he will go with a nice golden handshake and everyone's happy and we'll go separate ways.
How long was his contract?
I have no idea. Years.
No idea. Okay. Okay.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I didn't.
Doesn't matter, does it?
Right. Yeah, I just was curious how big of a payout he'll end up getting.
The thing is, these days we all talk about contract. There are so many clauses in contracts. I bet you he's probably got some performance clauses in his contract, which I'm sure if he hasn't, shall we say, kept his end of the deal, his payout won't be as much as it could have been, if you know what I mean. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so on that Sackwatch scenario, final international break, which is obviously a good opportunity to do it if you want to swap anyone. I don't actually expect anyone else to go this international break as far as I'm aware, but let's generalize it a little bit more. Coming up to the end of the season, then, like cutting ties right at the end of the season. Who else, if anybody, would be in that discussion?
Mousinho at Portsmouth. I think they're starting to struggle. And I mean, I don't know what kind of money they have if they're the type of, I don't know what type of ownership they are, how aggressive they might be if they think they're getting close, but they're starting to really struggle at a bad time. They're 1 point out of it right now, I think. Without looking at the table, and they've been in a really rotten run of form. It wouldn't surprise me if they made a change. Maybe in this window. Maybe they won't. Maybe they're gonna just let him go with it. But I could definitely see a change there. Like that wouldn't surprise me if they made a change.
I wouldn't be shocked if they made a change before the season's end, if it starts to go downhill very quickly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The problem is, though, they're so close to it. It's like 2 matches and that's it. Yeah. You're screwed, kind of, depending on what everybody else does. Mm-hmm. All it takes is Leicester and Norwich or the Baggies to continue a bit of form. That's it. They're done. It could be as quick as that. If everybody else gets results and they hit 2 losses in a row, you're almost locked in at that point.
Yeah, I think the other caveat is if results go against them, and like you said, if they panic, then don't they? It's like we are staring relegation dead in the face.
Yeah.
What have we got to lose? You get owners do it, don't they? We're going down. We're going down at this point. Let's make a change. Hey, we might get a manager bounce and win a couple of games straight off the bat.
Yeah, they're on 40. Leicester and Oxford are both on 39. The one thing to their favor is they do have a game in hand, but that game in hand is Ipswich. Yeah, so it's not, it's not that they'd expect to get anything from it. But yeah, their form. They've gotten, let's see here, 1 point from their last 6 games. That goes all the way back to when we played them. We beat them. Hull beat them. They drew with Blackburn, and then it was a loss to Swansea. That's at home. Lost at home Swansea. Lost at home Derby, and then just got absolutely whacked 6-1 this weekend at QPR. So yeah, they're in a bit of a tough run there.
Yeah. Okay. What's going on in the chat, guys? I just saw something that freaked me out, and no. They were talking about Brady owning 3.3%. Cost 100 million for 3.3%. Are you crazy? Someone's getting something wrong. Sorry, guys. Yeah, that just caught my eye. Okay, so anybody else from the other teams?
I don't think he'll go before the end of the season, but I think he's nailed on to be in trouble come the summer. Bristol City manager Struber. I think he's potentially on thin ice.
Yeah, they haven't finished up well, really.
Yeah.
No, and I actually don't think a lot of it's actually his fault either. I think that the team and they sold they sold Volnia to you guys. They lost Mehmeti, didn't really replace them. So it's kind of like, well, you've took two big players out your side, and you're asked to compete still. It's like
and a lot of people said at the start of the season that they overachieved last year. It was a good time to get out because they were unlikely to get similar results this season. And then, as you said, they removed players that also were their better players. So, yeah, he was on a hiding to nothing almost there under that scenario. So the expectations should not have been as high as maybe they were, and he may be the casualty of it.
I got one that's a little left field. What about Chris? Oh crap, what's his name?
Wilder.
Wilder at Sheffield United. They've already sacked him once. They obviously aren't big on him. If they have a bad run to the end of the season,
his results have slid a little bit lately. Actually,
they have.
They've had some bad run of form. I was thinking that actually watching their most recent games. Yeah, but I don't think it would have to be really hard at the end of this season to kind of make it clear that we're not being harsh on him this time. I think it needs to be really clear. Whereas there's a lot of arguments to say that you gave him a bunch of players that he didn't want. You ripped up his team in the summer. Someone else destroyed the start of the season. I came back, got us close, but yes, it fell apart. But now I deserve my summer window. So a lot of positives to kind of push his way. But yeah, it's a new owners, new style. Who knows how they're getting on with Chris Wilder?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. They already dropped. My thing is they've, like I said, it's out of left field. Like, I don't think it's likely, but it also the fact that they've already moved on from him once suggests that they're not overly, and that was after losing in the playoff final. I mean, so you take it in that context, and then you really look at it. Yeah, they lost a few players, but it's not like that team's massively different from the team he had last season. And yeah, they got off to a really bad start, but
they also overachieved last season, even with what they had.
I don't know.
Almost they did. They ran into the playoffs last minute.
No, they didn't. They got 92 points last season.
Bristol
it's just you had Leeds and Burnley over 100.
Oh, you swapped conversation. I did not even hear a change in topic. I was still talking.
You were still talking Bristol, and I was talking Sheffield. Yeah.
Oh, so we were talking.
Sorry.
My bad.
No, guys, I'm tired. That's it on my brain. We were talking Sheffield United there for a minute. I swapped in my brain.
I think the thing with Wilder is he's a blade anyway. They admitted they made a mistake sacking him, so I'm not sure they'll make that mistake. The one thing I would say with Wilder that his history does show us he is particularly good at building a side. Not on a shoestring, but on limited budget. It's as daft as it sounds, it's where he seems to sort of thrive in those sort of conditions. He's going to need to do that next summer because obviously parachute payments run out. They're going to lose Harmer. They're going to lose Peck. They'll probably lose one or two others. Cooper, I think, will probably go to goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think what's his name is on the way out too. Left wing back or left
Burrows.
Burrows. I think he was rumored to be going in January. So
yeah, well, because he dropped off a cliff, didn't he, performance-wise, and it sounded like Wilder wasn't happy, so he was like, "Oh, we might get 5 million, off on your bike." But no, I think Wilder will be. I think he'll be there. I think the ownership, because he won't have. I think the only money they're going to get is what they generate from sales. And I think he, let's be honest, if you're a non-parachute team. You're not going to, who would you get? Who better would you get? that's the thing I would look at it and say, if you get rid of Wilder, you haven't got parachute money. You're going to have to deal with the absolute monster of a division with teams with money next season.
Yeah.
There aren't many on the list that I would want other than Wilder, shall we say? But I've got a left field one for you, but I'm not. It's not a question of a club getting rid of him. Do you still see McKenna being at Ipswich if they don't go up?
I wonder if he's hurt himself by staying and not moving when he had a chance. I'm with you. I know what you're saying. Like, would somebody go for him? Maybe. I think he was a hot commodity last summer. I think he might have hurt himself, especially if they don't go up. I think he's hurt himself.
It's one of those. I just look at it and think, should Crystal Palace come in? Not saying they would, but just saying, say a Palace come in the summer and Ipswich haven't gone up.
Yeah,
I don't think he turns the opportunity down.
How about this? What if they do go up and somebody still could comes in for him? He may go either way. I could see him moving on. I could see him moving on. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't surprise me one bit either way. Well, if he moved on, because I think he stuck with them. He probably could have got a move. That last year he stuck with them. Last summer probably was his best opportunity to go ahead and get it. When they went down, he probably could have got out then. Didn't. If they don't go out, I mean, even if they, like I said, even if they do, if he gets an opportunity to move on, it just seems like because there's no real it's not like he was a Ipswich fan or anything, was there? Like, there's nothing like that. I mean, he's just I could see him moving on.
Yeah, the question for me is somewhat a simple one, really. Is what do you think Coventry's chances of staying up are? I don't necessarily think that there's a situation here where they're going to invest enough to make a real charge at it and have a proper go at staying up.
You mean Ipswich?
Ipswich, yeah. Like I think it'll be half-hearted if they do go for it. They'll hedge their bets, they'll put some money into it, but I don't think it'll be enough. In which case, you're then expected to have a team that's going to be relegated again. So if you get the opportunity to go to anyone, even a Crystal Palace, who has been there for multiple seasons, although they're in and about it occasionally or whatever, like they're still a more settled team with better players, more finance. And as well, if they've had a scare this season, they might be willing to throw in an extra 40 million to bring in a couple of players to kind of say, okay, well, we don't want to be that close next season. So yeah, I could potentially see something like that.
Or of course, he could take the Spurs job when they get relegated. Just saying.
Well,
that'd be you know what? That's actually an interesting conversation. Because I'll tell you what, that'd probably be a hell of a that'd be a hell of a job to go for.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, if they come down, the current manager is going to be lucky to see next weekend.
Yeah,
but if they come down, they will go after somebody, and anyone worth their salt is going to look at that and think, well, Christ, I've got to do a really poor job not to get this Spurs squad, even with the sales back up to the Premier League. Then I'm going to have a real opportunity to build something.
That'll be one. That'll be and then here's the thing, like that's a team. They go back up, they'll stay up. You know what I mean? It's not like that's not a normal sized team going up. Getting promoted. That's completely different. They go up.
Yeah, because if they go back up after 1 year, they'll say, "Thank God we got out. We don't want to do that again." They're going to push the funds and say it is simply not worth risking.
Yeah.
So they're gonna put in huge money when they come back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be a big one. All right. Continuing on with the managers here, I'm going to throw something at John, but in fairness, I have not spoken to him about this, so he can play or pass, and we can come back to it later if he wants to think about it in the back of his mind until later. Right. This week, there has been a lot of talk about who the best managers in the league are. And people have been doing their list of managers, top 10s, all this sort of stuff. And I found some of them quite interesting, especially about where they put Parky. So I'm not going to ask you to do a full top 10 or whatever. Do you know immediately where you would put Parky in your list of best managers in the Championship this season, and / who you would put ahead of him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I'd put him around mid-table.
Okay, so call out a few then. Who would you throw ahead of him?
John Eustus, McKenna, Middlesbrough manager. Lampard, even though I don't particularly like him. The Southampton manager. I put Wilder above him, not going to lie.
Oh, okay. Previous history and stuff. Okay, yeah, I can.
Yeah, I just it's more of a. Here's the way I justify it is: do I think you would do better with Chris Wilder as your manager or John Eustus as your manager? 100%. I don't doubt it for a second.
Chat, get him.
Just saying.
Go on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put our manager above him. I'm not going to lie. Who else? I'm trying to think of managers now.
Okay, so let's just go down the leaderboard then, because you've kind of picked off most of them. So Coventry's manager, Middlesbrough's manager, Ipswich's manager. Next up is Millwall.
Alex Neil. I was going to say Alex Neil.
Millwall.
Forgot about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Millwall ahead of him. Hull?
No.
Okay. Some people have put Hull because of the team they have and how well
One
they've done this
season.
season. Yeah, okay, one season.
Yeah.
Right, then there's us, Southampton, you put ahead of us. Who else did you say then? You said Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, Derby.
Dare
I say Norwich's manager?
I was going to say I would put him
Since
ahead.
he came in.
He's
Since he
a
came
that
track
deserves-
record as well.
Yeah, it's a short record though.
He's
but he's
but
been
it's
good
good.
outside of. He's
But it's
been
good.
good other places.
Yeah.
He's
he's managed Rangers and European teams. You know,
he's a solid
caliber of manager, shall we say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the reason I did that is one of the other podcasts did this, and they both did their top 10, and one didn't even put a Parky in the top 10.
Yeah.
And the other one put him second.
Yeah.
So they ended up.
I was surprised the hell out of me too.
It was the EFL debate.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't it?
It was Gab Sutton and it was Ollie. What's his name? Ollie Mann.
Gab
I think
and Ollie.
his name.
Yeah.
Ollie.
Yeah,
put him
so Gab didn't even put him in the top 10, and Ollie did put him in second.
Yeah.
So it was just interesting because some people are turning around on Parky now with the history and where we're doing this season, and some people aren't, and it's quite interesting to see. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
No, like I said, I think I'll be honest. I think Parkinson's done exactly what I think everyone thought he would do. The way you play,
Yeah, but not the results. Very few people thought he'd get results like this with the way he plays.
I think the players help. I think you signed enough good players to suit the way that you wanted to play. So I think you've made some really smart signings in the likes of O'Brien, people like that. So
I'll say this too, though. I don't think we don't play maybe right now because of the injuries, but when we were at our best this season, we weren't playing anything like we played in the past.
Last season.
It's completely different than what we've played than we've ever played. It was a lot more ball on the floor, passing around, a little more possession. When we were like, national leagues, hoof the ball up fast as you can, go score. We had better players, you just go do it. Same thing in League 2. League 1 was very, we're going to sit back, we're going to let you have all the ball, we're going to defend like crazy, and that's it. This season has been, it's a lot different. So I don't think it's fair to say he's done exactly what everybody, because I don't think that's fair, because I don't think he has done. Because he's not playing the same way he has in the past.
Yeah,
I respectfully disagree.
I
I understand what you're saying, and I would agree. I think he's not as, shall we say, hoofball as you were in League 1. You still are, though.
Direct, John. It's
No,
terminology we like.
it's you know, hey, I witnessed Birmingham do it for over a decade, mate. So I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying I don't buy into this. I don't buy into this fact he's tactically refound himself. Yes, you may play the ball on the deck a little bit more. You're still a direct side, and he still plays direct football. And but hey, it works.
It
You know,
works.
as I've always said, the only best way of football, well, should I say, the only good style of football is winning football. Who cares how you do it?
Yeah,
So,
I definitely disagree. Well, me and Patty, I'll tell you what. Last I can't remember which game it was. Me and you were watching a game together, Patty. After we did the pregame show, we watched a game. What was only like a week or two ago? One of the games we were watching, and we started passing out of the back, and you're like, "Holy shit, we look good!" Like it was just so different than what we were used to.
But you don't do it consistently. You do it for like 2 minutes in a game.
I think when we have the right players,
I think it's slow.
When we
waste of time.
Yeah, when we have the right players on, we were pretty consistent about it. I think when the problem is now when you've got Zach Viner playing defensive mid, and it does get a little more hoofy. It does get a little more. It's not quite so focused on.
You guys watch. You watch Wrexham far more, so you're more knowledgeable than I am. The only thing I'd say is when I watched you play live on TV, I do see a slight difference, but I don't see a massive difference. I still think.
And here's the other thing too. I think you've been watching you guys play, and you guys are completely the opposite of the way we play.
Yeah.
So it makes sense for you to say, well, you guys are really you're still
you barely do it
because to you, bro, it would be compared to the way you guys play for sure. But from what we've come from and what
I was going to say, I think the other flip side that you have to understand is you've watched you play lower leagues.
Exactly.
Not going to lie, it's probably been utterly awful to watch. Yeah. So, yes, I can understand both sides if you get me.
Right. Yeah.
Well, one thing I will kind of agree with is I do think Parky maybe thinks the team isn't ready yet to go deep into that sort of possession style. But the team is getting there now. There were players who weren't used to it, and they're starting to get used to it. But they're not the same level of other teams, the way it's drilled and that. But we have moments where, like you said, when we were sitting down watching a game, they looked bloody good. Now maybe it was against a weaker team, and it just looked fast and it looked compared to what we're used to. But I think it'll keep improving over time with better players.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a certain spot. I can't remember who it was, but we'd turned the ball over they had turned the ball over in our box, and then we made like 6 passes in about
just to get it out.
4 seconds, just boom, 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 and you're like, holy shit!
Like, holy shit! Where did that come from?
It was just like we don't do that. That's not us. But it looked really good. It was just boom, 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 just a build up, and then got moving.
But often it's moments. That's
it was
kind of part of it. Often it is just moments here and there. But that match in particular, I remember they just looked really good.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that we're a full-on possession based. Yeah. We're going to sit on the ball, for
is it? Do you
75% of the game?
Do you think it's more of a personnel thing? So, like, because you're missing more, do you think you go less direct because of?
No, you know what? Actually, I actually think we go. I don't think more matters as far as that goes. I think we can, and he definitely holds up very well. But we go long ball just as much with Smith because we're trying to get him over the top. Because he tries to get that ball over. He wants that ball over the top. It suits him better. So it's a little different, but it's still long ball. But I think it's just
you're still playing hoofball. Yeah.
It's the midfielders though. It's the midfielders though.
Yeah.
I think when it was Sheaf and James at their best, when they were playing at their best in that little run we had, February or whatever, late January and February where we went on a really nice little run. Those two were just, it was just boom, boom, and they're feeding it out. And you had Thomason was getting involved from the left, and Cabore or whoever at the time was on the right. And there was just a lot of interplay. And then you had the center backs, that your wide center backs getting involved in. It was really nice build up, really nice possession play. And so it was like we went. I remember we did. I can't remember which. I think it was on one of the tactical fortitudes. I did a breakdown of like the possession and how much it had changed how much our possession stats from like the first several games of the season till that Sheffield United game when we kind of switched formation and changed how we were playing. And it was almost like a 7% difference. Like, so it was like we were like 42, and then from beginning of the season to that game, we'd average like 42%, and then from that game to whenever I did it, we were averaging like 49 or something, almost 50%. So like it was a marked difference. Now, granted, we still weren't, like we're having 60% of the ball or anything like that, but just it was a difference. Like we definitely changed how we were playing for sure.
Yeah, for me, the difference as well is that when we're playing it around the back, backwards and sideways, and holding on to the ball, we're not doing it particularly to play it all the way up the front of the pitch. We are doing it to find an opening to go direct, however that may be. Yeah. It may be a ball over the top, which is standard that you'll see in every single match, but there's a lot more long passes now as well, coming straight from defense or from midfield, trying to break through to someone. So for me, the way we're playing the possession game at the moment is purely to play around and find an opening to go for a direct play. And occasionally we play around with the ball so much that we actually are bringing it all the way up to the front. We are now starting to get occasions where we do actually make enough passes and continue playing up the field. But the first thought in everybody's head is look for those moments, look for the breakthroughs. Doesn't matter about holding the ball. If you see a chance, an opportunity, take it. Try and go direct, however that is. And it's working. It's working a lot better. I'm a lot more comfortable with our matches. We're not dominating by any means, but we're looking more and more dangerous through the midfield as well. So it used to be only our wingers and then get the ball in. Now it's coming through midfield as well. So a lot more attacking channels in general.
Regards the manager, because that's obviously how we got here.
Yeah.
If I was to say to you, okay, if Parkinson left Wrexham, could you see any of the teams in the top 10 taking him as manager?
No.
I see one.
Derby.
Nope.
Okay.
I see Millwall. Millwall are the only ones I think would look at him and go and do a job.
Yeah.
The problem. Sorry.
Hull.
Go ahead.
I think Hull. I could see it working at Hull too. That's similar. It's not that. It's not that much different. Direct.
The problem for me is we're now getting better talent, so it may not be the case in the future. But right now, I still think we're a squad designed for Parky. And if you swap out another manager, I think we're going to have problems for a significant period of time, because you put rigidness into our team, it's not going to work, because we have pulled players out of other teams that those teams didn't want because they're just a little bit slower, they're a little bit older, they're all of these sort of reasons where we thought they still had value because of their experience and their football brain and acumen and all of this. Yes, they might be just a little bit slower, but they're the ones that can produce individual moments. And this is why we've so many goals across the entire team, because it's not rigid. And because it's not rigid, anybody can score, anybody can take those opportunities. And it does look messy at times because of that, because there's not flowy, nice patterns all the times. It can look like it's bad football. And from some respect, you can argue it is. But if you have the players who can combine and find those moments, then it works. I don't think another manager can come in and do that as well, to flip it on its head. We're going to need a big change of players and player style maybe if another manager comes in.
Yeah, I agree.
So, new topic?
Yep, where we go next?
Let's hit up teams. Norwich. Have I got Norwich here? Where is it? Yes, here we go. Let me bring this up from our man, Kieran Maguire. Share screen.
Mike, we agree. I think me and Patty both agree with that. Yeah, we're not, but don't take what we were saying as we think he needs to go or anything like that. Parky will be here. He'll get next year, probably the whole season, no problem.
Okay, so I'm not sure how easy this is to see because it's small writing, but anyway, Kieran Maguire, Norwich City are named by the UK government for paying 1,152 staff less than the minimum wage. Suspect that they are casual employees totaling £99,000. So here we go. Number 12 on the list here, Norwich City Football Club PLC failed to pay £99,000 to over 1,000 workers. Surprised at all?
A little bit.
Interesting. So what's the okay? What is? I'm really surprised. Yeah, that's weird. Like, what's the? How do your minimum wage laws work? Like, I don't know how. You know what I mean? Like, I over there. I'm curious as to how it works. Because I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Well, the government set the minimum wage, and companies have to essentially abide by that.
Is that hourly wage or is that a?
It usually is done by hourly wage.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have it too. I just didn't know if it was the same or if you, because you know how we call things similar things, but it's different in different countries. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The reason I would be surprised is it's relatively low, the minimum wage. It's not like it's a very high wage. I'm going to cat.
The cat wants more minimum wage. Yeah, I'll be honest. It's not something I'm totally au fait with. The only thing I would say is I don't know how true it is, but I have a sneaky feeling minimum wage comes into fact when you work a certain amount of hours, possibly. So I don't know whether it's one of those where if they, like they said, they were casual workers, whether there's a loophole they've took advantage of. I don't
tried to take advantage of at least. Yeah.
Tried, yeah. Well, I'm going to say I don't know the ins and outs of the article, but you know, it's you know, are they in trouble or is it just saying that they've been named and shamed?
I don't know. That's I've not read the article, so I don't know. Maybe Patty's got some more.
But yeah, no. Essentially, minimum wage is an hourly wage, and it's set by the government.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a weird one. One way they could kind of get caught with it is a lot of the time when you're doing part-time hours and stuff, people, because they just enjoy it, will do extra work, and then it doesn't necessarily get counted for correctly, and then when you look at all the hours, it may not work. Can't escape. But anyway, so how they would figure that out though in those situations, you know, does someone complain and say, oh, I didn't get paid for all the hours I did or whatever, and then maybe they looked into it? Who knows? But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting one that a football club isn't on top of that.
Yeah.
It surprises me because it's Norwich, because you kind of associate Norwich being a well-run club. I know it's obviously new ownership, and dare I say, if Delia was still in charge, I'm pretty sure this wouldn't happen. But no, I just, the most surprising thing is it's Norwich, you know.
Yeah. So the chat's been taken over with Patty cat talk. We're worried. The chat is worried that you're not feeding your cat enough, Patty.
I know. No, I'm up late and not in bed. And lights are on, annoying the cat.
Pissed him off, yeah.
Okay, so just a small one there, nothing crazy to say. But yeah, I'm sure they can come up with $100,000 to pay that off and make sure everyone gets paid if they're told to. Right. Stop screen. Next up. Oh, Sheffield Wednesday. Do you want to talk about them for 2 minutes? Why not?
Sure.
Okay. So Sheffield Wednesday have been in the media cycle a lot lately, talking about how the EFL could screw over the deal to have new owners of Sheffield Wednesday. A lot of it is coming from their association, their fan association, or some version of it anyway. They're getting out there the word that basically they're being treated too harshly and the rules shouldn't apply to them and blah, 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 etc. Well, the rules are the rules. And the story going around is that if they continue to say you will get your minus 15 points, that the new owners could walk away. Now, I find this quite disingenuous in that, of course, the new owners knew about that when they started. Are they really so foolish that they absolutely thought they could get rid of those points and start with a fresh slate? For me, it just seems like it's opportunism by this group trying their best to do something good for their club. You know, I'm not against the idea of doing it, you know, have at it and see if you can get the EFL to change their mind. But trying to pretend the new owners might walk away, I think that's a bit too far.
If I understand this correctly, isn't this all over basically the amount of money that gets paid off to the football debts? So essentially, the incoming owners just need to stump up some more money to not get 15 points.
Yes.
Is that in a right? So, no sympathy. You knew what the rules are, and I don't like the EFL for obvious reasons, being a Birmingham fan. But this kind of gripes me a little bit, where people come out and they throw this at the EFL. It's like the rules are the rules there to protect, shall we say, dodgy people and dodgy owners from basically putting clubs into administration, reselling them, aka what happened to, I think it was Leeds, wasn't it? That I think that got all these rules changed. So as daft and as harsh as it sounds, the rules are there for a reason. And if the potential owners, they knew about this. I mean, if any potential owners, because the current lot are still the lot that were involved in the first round, which didn't get picked as the preferred bidder the first time round. So, sorry, you can't sort of claim that we didn't know anything about this. Well, you did, because you went into the first. So, and you know, hey, if you want to avoid the 15 points, stump up more money then. You know.
Okay, so you mentioned it there. The reason for the change in the rule and this 25% and the minus 15% was to stop a repackage deal where you sell it to yourself or another shell company and technically re-own it and dump the debts. But that's not what's happening here in this particular case. But the reason they can't pay, let's say, or are not willing to pay the 25% is because the debt to Chancery, or at least a good chunk of it, is included as well. So they don't think the value is there to pay that 25%. So what people are saying was, well, this rule is not really for this scenario. And why can't they look at the general creditors? Did they get enough? But they can't get enough anyway, because you still have to pay him. You can't choose to pay more to the other creditors in order to give them 25% and then not pay Chancery. It's completely illegal. Everybody has to be paid off at the level that's required by the type of shares and the debts and whatever. So,
the problem is you set a legal precedent then. So, you know, hey, no one wants to be in this position, but the next time this happens, it might be 10 years, 15 years down the line. The next time this happens, and they've let Sheffield Wednesday get away with it, then all of a sudden they turn around and say, oh, no, it's 15 points, blah, blah. And this other club go to take legal, you know, advice and go, well, hold on, you let Sheffield Wednesday get away with it. And then all of a sudden you set a legal precedent then. So then they essentially shoot themselves in the foot. So, see, the cat just wanted airtime. That's all it was.
Yeah, you can be quiet now, you.
No, I'm going to eat your microphone.
Okay, so that's it with Sheffield United too. Pretty much just ongoing. They really need to get this sorted soon. But okay, different question. With all the crap that's happening and the poor team that they have, is there any reason that they can't survive in League One next year? Surely it's just up to the new owners to put in enough investment. Yeah?
Yeah, even with 15 points, you would still say if they invest smartly, and yes, it would still be a big achievement. But yeah, you know, let's face it.
They have no squad. They need to invest in a squad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is Sheffield Wednesday, albeit with a 15-point deduction, will still start next season as an attractive proposition for a lot of players for that level.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
especially with new ownership.
yeah,
I don't think they'll have any trouble getting players to go there and play. And I think as long as they put some money into it, there's no reason they can't do well enough. Like even with minus 15 points, it wouldn't be outrageous to see them make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be completely like. I think if they did it well enough, and I know that's probably a long shot. You know what I mean? But you could if they put enough money into it. I don't know how much money they have and how much they're willing to put into the squad and what because it's not just the squad. They've got a lot of other things they got to put money into as well. So who knows? But yeah,
I was just going to say they just have to adjust their sides because if their plan was to at least make playoffs in the first season, building their new squad, well now okay. You make mid-table. You don't get a shot at going up the first year. You've a little bit more time to build because now you're looking at least a 2-year instead of a 1-year bounce back. And you just have to work with that. It's workable if they have the money to invest, if they're willing to invest on that level.
the other thing to take into consideration is League One is one of those leagues where you have a lot of, shall we say, small teams at the peak of their powers, and you have a lot of big teams which are probably at their lowest ebb. So you've got in League One probably you'd say half the division, probably, which budget-wise, even with new ownership and everything, even if they were frugal new owners, with 30-odd thousand fans every week at home and and the fan base and all that behind them, budget-wise, they're still going to be massive compared to a huge amount of teams in that division. So you'd say even with 15 points, with the budget they have, even if we're saying it's nowhere near, say, chasing promotion budget, they should not, I won't say they shouldn't be not in danger, but they should give themselves ample opportunity to have a very successful season, even with a 15-point deduction.
Yeah, I agree there. If they're ran properly, if these are decent owners, there's no reason in a couple seasons they won't be back up in the championship and back where they probably should be. I don't see it. I think it's they're one of those clubs, like you say, 30,000 people every week. They're going to be people are, and it'll be a love in, especially if they do well. You know what I mean? If they're doing well, like they're going to have a lot of good, a better field, but just because it's been so bad, and you'll I think they'll have no problem filling that place most weekends. So.
I mean, we forget, but Sheffield Wednesday is a gargantuan football club.
Yeah, it is.
That fan
Massive.
base is huge.
Massive. Absolutely. So, yeah, it's I mean, there's a reason that they had so many people interested in buying it. You know what I mean? It's not like not like we're talking about Leyton Orient here. I mean, it was it's Sheffield Wednesday. It's a different thing. I'm sorry to any Leyton Orient fans that may be watching, but you know what I mean? Like it's a big club. So yeah, I totally
and you give them 2 seasons of building and having finance behind them and having the crowd and everybody else, they can go top 2 in that year too. They can go automatics for year 2. That can be the plan. Wrexham and Birmingham did it. You were coming down, we were coming up, and we had some firepower behind us, both of us, and that's it. We just stormed the league, basically by the end of it. Okay, so then next story is our old pal Swansea. So let's bring this up. I spoke about this the weekend and never miss an opportunity to talk about them when they're doing stupid stuff. Okay, can we see this? No, because I haven't selected it. Cool. Yeah. Tom Goringe or whatever, however you say it, CEO. We have the Sky Sports cameras in attendance once again, although hopefully coverage of this fixture will be more balanced than what we witnessed around our game at Wrexham last weekend. While I don't think anyone would dispute that we want to continue to grow the profile of the EFL product, the means by which we do so should be balanced and impartial. In my view, the build-up to and coverage of the game itself left a lot to be desired in those particular scores, with the production being done by Robin Ryan's own production company. All of the guests and focus were on their team. There were celebrations with David Pruton, the face of Sky's EFL coverage, and the advert for the commentary of the game failed to mention that we were playing at all. It felt to myself and a number of members of our staff that we were very much an afterthought and that our hosts were given priority at every opportunity. And as a club, we would strongly suggest that greater critical thought is given to how these situations are handled moving forward. This is a position that I will discuss with EFL next week. Will you? And they'll tell you to shut up. No, what, John, the neutral, what do you think?
Being honest, he's probably got a very valid point. However, that's not how TV works. The thing is, it's not the story, is it? You know, it got labelled at us quite a lot last season and this season, where you know it's all about. But that's the story, isn't it? That's the news. You know, your owners, our owners, Tom Brady, Rob Ryan. You know. That's what not sells, but you know, it's kind of that's news, isn't it? You know, and as much as I think he's probably got a very valid point in that, hey, it should be impartial, it should be this, it should be that. But at the end of the day, they would have got more viewers tuning in because of Rob and Ryan and stuff rather than Swansea City. Let's not beat around the bush.
So interestingly, I saw somewhere Sky had posted or somebody had reported that something like
I can find
like 45% or something of the audience, or maybe it was 55, I can't remember, but like a big chunk of the audience actually watched that Robin Ryan stream versus the regular, which, you know, so there's that. Now you did have the choice. Obviously I'm not from over there, so I didn't get to see the Sky Sports coverage. You know, I don't know what they're, but I can't remember who I was listening to talk about it. But somebody was mentioning that, you know, basically like even in some of the build-up stuff, like to say it wasn't balanced, like apparently there were 2 Swansea players that were part of the coverage, like the pregame coverage stuff, like it was, there were 2 ex-Swansea, you know, players. Like there was, so it wasn't completely, not, I get it. Yeah. I'm sure it was slanted towards Wrexham, but I mean, here, let's be honest though. They weren't bitching when everybody was talking about Snoop Dogg at their place, and nobody else was either. You know, that was the story. And that night, our night, you know, at our place, it was about Robin Ryan. Like that's just, that's
the most funny thing about this, because this was obviously before the Coventry game that he's done this.
Yeah.
Which makes me laugh is like, you know, we've got the cameras here again, yeah. And what was it? You're 3-0 down after 20 minutes live on TV. Way to go, mate. Well done.
Yeah. The camera. Hey, well, let's put it this way: the cameras weren't there for them.
No, they were not.
Okay, so I found it here, but I won't bring it up. There was a counterclaim made, and Sky were talking about the numbers. What they said was, contrary to Gorangen's claim, Sky said it produced the live from Wrexham with Robin Ryan. It wasn't Robin Ryan's production team that did it. So it was Sky did the whole thing. And 40% of all in-house viewers tuned in through the alternative offering. So 168,000 out of the total 424,000 watched the Robin Ryan stream instead. Now, they didn't specify, was that higher than average for a match to watch it live at the time? And of course, there is no mention of international numbers as to how well it did internationally, say in America or anywhere else where the options were. So that's quite interesting. And it likely is, you know, a test case, test run to see if anything like this is worthwhile doing in the future. But it was an alternative stream. Here's my
thing about it. I actually didn't like it, especially before the game. I didn't like it because I was like, if we lose this fucking game, we will never hear the fucking end of this. Like, I did not like it at all. Like, I was like, I really hope they don't. Because here's the thing, like, you knew what you're going to get with Robin Ryan. Like, it was going to be not a lot about the football. It was going to be very, like, lighthearted, them joking around. So it was like, I didn't listen to the first half of them. I listened to the regular for the first half. And then after halftime, I was like, I'll switch over for a few minutes and listen to them just to see what they're doing. And actually, to be fair, they were fairly, like, it was actually okay. It wasn't, it's not probably, I wouldn't want to do that every week, but it was okay.
Commentary.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was different. It was interesting to listen to them talk, but sometimes it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, what you're gonna get from them. So it wasn't. I kind of like hearing somebody that knows what they're talking about. Talk about things, and you get a little more detail that way. Where with them, it was just, oh yeah, and then they were bringing in guys. You had who Fletch come in. I think they had Ollie Palmer in the first. I didn't see that part where Ollie came in. Tozer came in at one point and was so it was it was kind of what I expected. It wasn't terrible though. They were fairly entertaining, I guess.
Didn't they have issues though? Because didn't it not work for the first 20 minutes?
Yes, the sound was gone for the first 10 minutes maybe.
I didn't know that
the sound wasn't playing. Yeah,
because I remember seeing on social media that basically everyone or my Twitter feed was basically about the commentary saying, well, this has worked out well, isn't it? Because it's just like there's nothing, it's silence. I thought because I didn't listen to it. I listened to the normal commentary because, like you, Aaron, I want to I want to listen to somebody a football commentator.
It wasn't for like serious football fans. It was for new. It was to attract eyeballs and get some new people watching. So whether that worked or not will be interesting for the future.
I think they should do it for the game against us. They should get Robin Ryan and Tom Brady in the commentary box
together to
commentate.
This is something we discussed at the weekend. There are ways you could play with this because it's now so popular, having a second stream, and one of them is simply if you want to have it a bit more balanced, have someone from each side and have them talking to each other and laughing or cheering.
Let me ask, have you guys I guess, Patty, you're not in the UK, but I mean, have you guys had anything like this before, like an alternate an alternate thing to games? Because this is not new for us. For us, this isn't new. The Manning brothers do it in the NFL. Like almost every Monday night football game on ESPN, they have a separate thing where you can just listen to Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. Which, if you guys don't know, they're quarterbacks in the NFL, big name quarterbacks. They'll sit and talk, and they're interesting because they were players. So you get a little more, you do get some cool stuff, tidbits out of those guys. College football, they have Pat McAfee. He's done some of that, some like simultaneous casting stuff where they kind of do a separate. So this is kind of a normal thing here. Still not quite normal, but it's we've done it a lot here. So I was curious if you guys had done that at all, that type of thing.
They've back in the day, we're going back a while now, Sky did something where it was like fan zone thing. So it was Premier League did it, where they would have like the Sky match, but you could have the commentary, which was basically opposition fans. So you'd have one from each, there was a great one. I'll send you the video if I can find it later. But it's basically Blues v Villa in the Premier League, and they had a Blues fan, and it was just no hold barred. I mean, it got cancelled because they stopped doing it because it was just chaos, basically. just fans basically just going at each other. But there's never been anything like, shall we say, club ownership or people, they've always been involved, shall we say, in regards to the punditry team rather than the commentators. Commentators, as far as I can remember, have always been proper professional football commentators in that regard.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I could see a scenario where you would maybe have ex-players, one from each team, where they do it together and they don't have to try and be biased. They don't have to call everything. They can have fun with it and they can have a back and forth. and slag
Mhm.
off nicely the other
Right,
team's
yeah.
players when they miss and whatever, and what sort of tackle was that, and how did he miss that, or whatever. You could have a bit of fun with it, doing a back and forth version of that.
Mhm.
Might be something for the future.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Okay, so that was it. Was there anything else I mentioned at the start? Oh, Spurs, we haven't talked that. We haven't looked at our league either. Do we want to go over where everything stands before the international
look at
break?
the table at least, yeah.
Okay, so give me a second. I'll pull that up.
We can talk about Spurs. So Spurs are coming down for sure, right? We all agreed.
They're getting very close to it.
I'll be honest.
They don't have a
Absolutely
great run in.
fucking waxed.
I'll be honest. The weekend was the first time I
You consider
properly. Well, no, I knew they were in trouble, and I knew,
Yeah.
the weekend was the first time where I sat there and went, "They're actually going to go." It was the first time where
They really
I sat
could,
there and I thought, do you know what? They stink of a relegation side, especially to lose against a relegation rival at home the way they did. My only sort of question is, have West Ham got enough to
Yeah,
overtake
that's
them?
the problem. Yeah. West Ham's got to do something.
Because to me, it feels like it's West Ham or Spurs.
Yeah,
That's what it kind of
I
feels
agree.
like.
Yep.
It's one of those where I just, there's part of me that still believes Spurs might survive just because I think West Ham might be just,
West Ham's so bad.
yeah, they might just suck more. So
Oh. I'll tell you, I will say this. I know it probably for us next season doesn't bode well, but it will be interesting. I kind of like the fact that there's teams coming down that didn't just go back up, didn't just go up. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's good. It's probably good for the leagues, probably good for, you know what I mean? You don't want just the same teams going up and down and up and down.
I get that. I'm not sure I want Spurs. I remember
Yeah,
what
no.
it was like when we had Newcastle come down.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "Oh, this will be really fun." It really wasn't.
It wasn't.
You sat there and you've just been absolutely trounced, and you've not played bad either. And it's like, yeah, get out.
But you know what though? If you realistically feel that you're good enough to be a playoff team, but you know that the three teams coming down from the Prem are in most seasons going to eat your lunch. So there's only 3 playoff spots available, but you're good enough to get them. It doesn't really matter who comes down. It's just the chance of them screwing up completely might be different.
Yeah, I just think if it was any normal season, I would almost sort of be funny to see. It's just the way that it's looking like next season with all the potential teams that it's almost like you add a Spurs to that equation. It's like, oh God.
Well, and to your point, I mean, looking like, just looking at the table. Obviously Middlesbrough on a little bit of a slump here recently, but if Middlesbrough and Coventry, which I'm not convinced it's going to be Middlesbrough, but if Middlesbrough and Coventry went up, that's 2 teams that weren't parachute teams. Then there's a chance that a parachute team, say Millwall wins the playoffs, you could get 3 teams out of the league that weren't parachute teams. So that means you're keeping Ipswich and you're keeping Southampton and you're keeping, Leicester could go down, but which would be interesting in its own right. But you could have those 3 parachute teams still in the league. Plus, Sheffield United still got one more year, I think.
No, this is their last year.
Okay, so they're done. Okay, so they'll be done. So you'll have those 3. Then you have the 3 coming down, which could include Spurs, or West Ham, definitely Wolves, and then Burnley, which, they're always tough when they come down.
Yeah,
so
average 100 points. Yeah.
They're pretty good.
There's no teams on a 3-year parachute, is there? John, do you know?
I don't think there was there? No, they all had dropped. I think they all came right back down.
There can only be 6 then.
Yeah, it'd just be the 6. Yeah,
it can only be 6 teams.
Yeah.
But still, that's enough. You don't want.
Yeah,
you
that's
don't want
a lot.
any. The minimum 3. But
yeah, because when you start looking at it, shall we say, sensibly, shall we? Like you said, if Ipswich and Southampton are still here next season, you're going to say, okay, then the 3 that come down. So all of a sudden you'd say, there's your top 5. All of a sudden it's like, okay, I know the playoffs are extended down to 8th, isn't it? But essentially then you're saying the rest of the league,
forgot about eight.
Yeah, the rest of the league are then fighting it for 3 places.
Mm-hmm.
And then if somebody like a friggin' Norwich go and do a Coventry all of a sudden, then it's like Jesus. So yeah.
Yeah, it's it could be interesting next season.
I don't know. Look, next season maybe the 7th and 8th save us, save our ass, and keep us in the playoffs. You know,
but then
we'll be strong. We'll be stronger next year, though.
Yeah. My counter argument is like saying like 7th and 8th might save both of us next season, but the problem is the gap then from 7th to 8th to say these parachute teams. It's kind of like, well, yeah, you finish 7th or 8th, but you ain't going very far in the playoffs. Then it's like, you know, it's one of those where next season just for me feels like it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, but you know, well, it depends how strong they are, because if there's that many strong teams, they're going to be pulling points off everybody and each other. You know, which can also lower the level too. So if another team like us or Birmingham or anyone else goes on a fantastic run versus everybody below them, they can get in there too. But we'll see. Look, it'll be fun. Come on. It's our second year in the championship. Let's have some fun if we're still there. Bring Spurs down.
I'm all for it. I think it'll be fun.
I want the big stadium.
I remember what those days were like when I sat there and went, it's fun.
I haven't had them, so.
Yeah.
I've witnessed my team get absolutely pummeled in 40 minutes against a Newcastle side who have just like, and I've sat there going, we've played really well.
We played really well and got tonked 5-0 for our efforts.
I remember playing a Wolves side and getting, I think we were 3-0 down at half time and sat there going, do you know what? We've actually done really well. We've just had Diego Jota running at us, a Traore running at us, and Ruben Neves running the midfield. And I'm just sat there, what is this? What is this I'm watching? So it's all good fun, yes. So.
Okay. Watford and Norwich. Are we all comfortable saying that there's very little chance they're going to make playoffs? They're done. Norwich have 21 points left, so 75 is the absolute max. They beat everybody.
I'll be honest. I'm starting to get to the. I think it may take that to get you know what I mean? Like it.
No, it may take that, but Norwich is not going to get that. That's
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like I'm starting to think that it just seems like a 6th place seems to be getting every week. If we all keep winning, it's just that it's going to be higher than. So I think originally we all talked about like 71 or 72. And it's like, maybe 73. Now I'm starting to think, maybe it's going to be like 75.
Well, 75 is 4 wins from us.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I mean, and we're on the same points as Southampton, and and Hull are ahead of us.
I think it's going to need 4. It's going to need 4 wins. I think. Yeah.
And that may not get it. That still may not be enough. That's the thing. Like it's
possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know.
I think it's. I'll be honest. I'm almost not counting Southampton. I think Southampton will overtake Hull.
Yeah, I think Hull's the one's going to drop.
Yeah,
I think it's Hull, you, and Derby, and I do discount Watford. Norwich are possible, but that's only because their form is just ridiculous. But they can't afford to lose a game.
I got to pull up Mark's comment here because he told me a couple weeks ago that they were not that good. And so I'm waiting for them to go ahead and start dropping those points. He said they're going to drop. He swore to me that they were going to drop some points, and they've not done it yet. And I need them to go ahead and do that. That'd be great.
You fell into that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think I watched that and I put a comment just saying I'm not buying it for a second.
I'm not real happy with Mark right now. He's led me astray. Shoot. No, they're on an unbelievable run. Yeah, I'm with you though. I do think Southampton probably do. I'll be honest. Southampton are on the kind of run that if those top, 2, 3, and 4 keep fucking around, they're liable to get caught. You know what I mean? Like Southampton could make a late run.
I'll be honest, Southampton for me are on that sort of run which sees them win the playoffs. They're on, it's that crest of a wave at the right time where you feel they're going to go into the playoffs
feeling good.
Literally just going, we don't care who we face because we'll just blow them away.
Yep, agree.
Okay. No one see anyone other than Coventry taking this league now at this point. 9 points, too much. And Middlesbrough not playing well as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. And nobody's playing that well. I just don't see anybody catching it.
I think Coventry, you give them the title now. I do think that second spot feels like it goes to the last game of the season. I'm not going to lie. It feels like none of them want it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I agree. Unfortunately, we play because we get Borough the last game, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Borough's our last game, so we could be playing for sixth place, and they'll be hunting for top 2. So it could be bad.
I'll tell you one of the most dramatic fucking Hollywood script writing that you can get for a finish of the season is we need a win to stay in 6th, and we have to take it from Middlesbrough, and them dropping three points to us puts them in 3rd, and then we have to play them.
We play them in the playoffs. Yeah.
So we get 3 matches back to back with Middlesbrough to survive and go through to the final.
Here's the thing with Borough, and they've been like this since Hellberg's come in. They'll go on these poor runs like this. It would not surprise me one bit if they reel off 5 wins in a row now. Like they really could, because that's just the way they've been. They if you look back, it's been like 5 wins, a couple draws, a loss. You know what I mean? Another 5 wins. just reel off a whole run of them, and they look great. And it's like everybody's like, oh, they can beat Coventry, and then it's like they just start losing.
Middlesbrough with nothing to play on the last match is exactly what we want. Nothing to win.
That'd be great
for them.
Yeah. If they could just go ahead and win like the next 5 in a row and just wrap up second, that'd be fantastic. They go ahead and do that for us, and then rest all their players when they play us. Bring in the kids. Whatever. They're under 17.
I don't think they can do that actually.
Well, you can make up any excuse you want as long as you don't rip up your whole team.
I mean,
No, I think didn't they bring out a rule that stopped them from doing it?
Yeah,
there's something weird. Yeah, there's something. No, there is something, but there's like I can't remember what it is.
There's some sort of rule if they're not in the match day squad or something, and then if your next game is the first leg of the playoffs, you're not allowed to name them or something.
Yeah.
So they have to.
No, but we're talking about Middlesbrough not having playoffs at all.
Yeah, if they're up.
Yeah.
But,
Yes, so like they're on the beach.
Yeah.
So no one's going to criticize them no matter who they put out.
Basically. No, exactly. No, in that situation, yes, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, top end. Anything else we want to say here about these ones? Or I think we've kind of gone over it a lot, haven't we?
I think so. What do we? I mean, okay. Who do you guys think? Who's your favorite for second?
Still Ipswich.
I think I went away from them, and I think I've gone back. But I do think they're probably the favorite.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I keep overlooking Ipswich because of the game in hand. Their results haven't looked as good because they've been sitting a little bit lower on the table, but they've been consistent. So they could absolutely pull that one off.
Yeah. And here's the thing: they win their game in hand, they're in second. So We'll put
I
them
mean,
with 32.
Ipswich got a brilliant opportunity, haven't they? Because isn't it Middlesbrough versus Millwall next game?
Is
I
that
think.
right?
Yes.
That could
I think
be.
yeah. I think straight after the injury, it's Middlesbrough and Millwall, so it's kind of like Ipswich will be hoping draw, please, and we'll win.
Could you? That's the next. Here's the thing: like those three teams keep dropping points, like sneakily. I mean, now I don't expect us to get there, but we're only what we're 6 off of Ipswich and Millwall right now. It's not a ton of points. Like it's closing up. Like gaps. Whereas a few weeks ago it felt like there was a huge gap, and because they were all playing well, and all of a sudden everybody's dropping points. It's like, yeah, gap's not that big. That's what I'm saying. Like it wouldn't surprise me if Southampton made a run and got up there and made a push for that second spot. It would not surprise me.
Yeah, I had a look at this the weekend, and we were discussing it a little bit actually as well. So Millwall are about to hit some bad fixtures, right? So next 3 fixtures for Millwall, they've got. Oh, sorry, no, they've already played one, Ipswich, with the draw.
Ipswich,
They've just had the draw. Then they've got Middlesbrough next, and then they've got Norwich, but they're at home. So they're 2 more tough matches that they have the potential to lose / draw, and then they'll drop points. After that, they've got West Brom, QPR, Stoke, Leicester, and Oxford. So their running is fairly light in comparison to everyone else. I know the caveat is always teams down the bottom have something to fight for, and will always try and take points off you. But in the general scheme of things, they have a light running. So if they don't lose significant points in these next couple of matches, then they're likely to be okay and maybe go on a run for it. For us, Southampton is an interesting one because they have the FA Cup first when they come back.
Yeah.
So when they play the FA Cup versus Arsenal, isn't it? We play the Baggies. So we can claim potentially 3 points there and climb over Southampton. And then their next match and our next match is each other. So their first match back 3 days after their FA Cup fight with Arsenal. Their first match back after international duties are us, essentially, in the league. So we could be 3 points ahead of them, and even with a loss, then they have a game in hand. So it's an interesting one. But if we can pull it off with 3 points ahead, catch up the distance, and then beat them, that's a nice spot to be in. If we can pull it off, of course. I think that's what's going to define our season, is that match versus Southampton, really. A draw might not be the end of the world for us if we can draw that match, but a loss there is going to do us some damage. A win could be huge for our final run-in.
Yep. Agree.
Okay. Right, then let's have a look at the bottom. Right, Charlton is safe. I think everyone can agree with that. Anyone want to make an argument for them going on a disastrous run of form?
It'd have to be a disaster. It'd have to be a super unbelievable disaster. I don't see it though.
Yeah, and they would also require a lot of teams below them to all overtake.
Yeah, I would call them safe at this point. They can just dribble over the line with a couple of draws here and there, and they'll do okay. Right, so then it's Blackburn Rovers 43, West Brom 43, Portsmouth 40, Leicester City in the relegation at the moment, 39 points, Oxford 39 points, and then obviously Sheffield Wednesday screwed down the bottom. So all to play for 2 relegation spots at the moment.
It changes every week, doesn't it? Because I'll be honest, I thought the Baggies were dead and buried a couple of weeks ago, but haven't they? They've won back. Have they won back to back now? Is it?
I think they drew and won. I think. Oh yeah, no, you're right. Back to back. Yeah. Beat Hull, beat Bristol.
And my Baggies mate keeps telling me Morrison's suddenly turned around and the team's sort of fighting. They started playing now. And he said, where's it been all season? I was like, yeah, fair point. So, hey, like I said, I thought they were dead and buried weeks ago. But if they are suddenly starting to perform like they can do, they'll get out of it, I think.
Well, they have us next. So back after the international break, that'll be an interesting one.
Home or away?
They've had. We're away.
Yeah, we're at them. Yeah.
Yes, we're away. Yeah.
You could have done with them not winning back to back before that game, realistically.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll.
It depends. They're probably all happy with their position now and not worried about relegation too much.
I don't know. I'm not sure 4 points. I'd be sort of that relaxed.
Yeah. Anyway, someone has to teach them a lesson. Upstarts. What are you doing trying to climb?
Yeah.
2 matches in a row. How dare you?
Yeah. It's getting to that point of the season where they're all going to start picking up random points where we don't expect it, like Oxford have done. I mean, Leicester won a game, didn't they, the other week? And the ones that I kind of worry about now is Portsmouth. They just look like they've sunk like a stone into it. When I think it was like a month ago, they seemed almost like, I think we discussed it. So they're a couple of wins away from safe almost, and they've just plummeted down there.
It was 1 point from their last 6 games, I think.
Again, it to me feels like it's going to go down to sort of second last game of the season around there, where there's going to be like 4 teams that could still go down on the last game or something like that.
Yeah. The Leicester, I don't think they're going to be dead and buried until the last 2 matches, and even then, like they can be close enough. They could. Let's have a look at it. Actually, they could pull off 2 wins in the last 2 matches and pull themselves out of it right at the very end.
Well, Leicester've got they've got Preston Friday or on the Friday, and then they've got Sheffield Wednesday. So you feel like they probably get 3 points there. Preston's not playing well; they could probably get something there, at least a point. So they could get 4 points in their next 2, which.
And start
may not
doing okay.
quite. Yeah, I mean, they could get themselves in a good. That may not be enough to get them out of it, but it could. They could with that. That could pop them over. Actually, probably, before being honest, actually, if they win, if they get 4 points out of their next 2, they're probably jumping Portsmouth. And then it's just what's Oxford doing? How what have they done? And then after that, they've got after Wednesday, they've got Swansea. Then they play Portsmouth. That'll be a massive game, April 18th, Portsmouth and Leicester. And that's at Portsmouth. And then they've got 2 home games against Hull and Millwall, which aren't going to be easy. And then their final game of the season is at Blackburn, which could have big, it could be a big one if Blackburn falls back down into it.
Yeah, so they're at home to Millwall, Hull, and Swansea, all of which could be losses for them, but they're at home. So, well, I don't know what their home form is kind of like at the moment. Then they have potential wins. Sheffield Wednesday, probably, yes. Then Portsmouth is a massive one, and then maybe Blackburn on the last day. Like I was saying, on the last day, they could pull some off as well. But that's, 7 points from now? 46 maybe at a minimum you'd expect them to be able to do by the end of the season.
Won't be enough.
That won't be
46 won't be enough. Okay, so they need to do better. They could do better, but there's no guarantee they'll do better, I think.
So Oxford, who've been on a pretty decent run, did get beat by Southampton on the weekend. They've got Hull in their next match at home. Then they go to Portsmouth. That's a big game on the Monday. Then they've got Watford at home, which Watford could be on the beach by then, Then they're at Derby. Then they've got us at home. Then they've got their Wednesday 3 points at home. And then on the final day, they're at Millwall. So how many points? I mean, been on a decent run here. I could see him getting another see, Portsmouth. If they beat Portsmouth, there's 3. So you get 1 against Watford, 3 against Wednesday. That gives them 7. If they sneak another 1 somewhere in there, they get 8. Where's
They'll
that
all
put?
be they'll all be targeting their home games, won't they? That's what all of them down there will be doing. They'll be targeting all of them. Will be saying, right, the games at home are all must wins. Is what
Yeah.
they're all going to be
They've
saying.
got 4. They've got 4 out of the 7 at home. They've got
But
they've
they're
got
not
Hull at
easy.
home, Watford at home, Wrexham at home, and Wednesday at home. So, yeah.
But that's all you in a relegation battle. That's all you want.
Mm.
You just want home games because obviously that's where you're usually strongest.
Mhm. Yeah, and they're they had won 3 in a row, and then they drew with Charlton, and then lost to Southampton. So they've got 10 points out of their last 5 games. Which, I don't expect them to keep that run up, but if they could get anywhere near that, that might be enough to drag Leicester and Pompey down into it, and Oxford get out.
And plus, also the loss against Southampton is no shakes or not.
No,
Mhm.
that's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't play anybody that's like that you feel like, ooh, they're gonna get hammered there. Like, there's nobody in that. Like, Hull's not playing fantastic right now. Portsmouth obviously aren't. Watford, like we said, they could be well and truly on the beach when they play them. Derby are playing pretty well, so I mean that's probably a tough one at Derby. And then they've got us. That's going to be a tough one. And then their last game of the season, like I said, they got Wednesday at home. And then you've got they're at Millwall, the final game of the season. So that could be tough depending on what Millwall need, where they're at, if they're still fighting for that top 2, who knows? A lot of things can change.
But we have the international break now, which has come at a good time for us because we have still a couple of injuries that we need players to rest up and hopefully come back ready for. So James, especially I think in the midfield, just to kind of lock that down a bit more. And of course, Kiefer Moore up front, if he can make it back as well, would be a good addition to have as an option.
Yeah. Yep, I'd like to have Kiefer back for. I don't know if he'll be quite back for. Might be pushing it a little bit to get him back for West Brom, but if we could have him back for Southampton, I think that'd be big. We could use him, even if it was off the bench. He can just change things for us. Sometimes he's somebody you can bring on at 65 minutes and he can change a game.
He hasn't gone on international duty, has he?
No, he hasn't.
No.
He stayed off. So I don't know if he'll quite be back by then.
Yeah, I don't. I'm going to say because it's their playoff, isn't it? This
playoff. That's the thing. Like if he
could walk, he would be on international duty.
Right. Yeah. So I think Parkey said he's going to be close after the break. I just don't know how close. You know what I mean? So it's going to be one of those. We'll see. We will see. And then I think James, that's a big one. If we can get James back, who knows with Kakachi? I think I was talking to Ken about it. I'm almost at the point with Kakachi, so shut him down. Like, what's the point? He just keeps getting hurt. It's like maybe it's time to just give him the summer and let him get right. Why push him back if he keeps that? Yeah, that too. But yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I just can't see him getting back in the team at this point.
It's a trust thing as well with players like that, especially ones where it's like you said, shut him down. The problem is Parkinson will probably be thinking, can I rely on him next season?
Right.
You know, this season
Oh,
you can't. So it's
I have
like,
no doubt. I have no doubt we'll be bringing a left wing back in. That a good one. You know what I mean? I think he'll be looking to bring one in that can start. You know, yeah, for sure. I'd be surprised if we didn't. Yeah, but it was another thing. Was it me and you, Patty, that were talking about it, or was it me and Ken? I can't even remember. Like I could see us bringing in like 3 wing backs in next year. You know, if you count Kabore, if we decide to keep him.
Yeah, if
I
if
could
you're
see
counting
2
Kabore,
right,
then
2 on the
yeah,
right, and another on the left. You know, it
yeah.
would not surprise me to bring in 3. So
It's such a big part of our team.
yeah,
We need the best we can get in those positions.
Yep. Yep. Oh. Anyway, Esteban wants to know why they call Portsmouth Pompey. You know, John? I don't know.
because they're weird.
There you go. Now you know, Esteban. Now
I have
you know.
no idea. I'm sure there's actually a very, very reasonable reason to why they, but I have no idea.
Don't know. It is kind of an odd one, isn't it?
Yeah, because they still got that song in it, "Play Up Pompey." So
I'll tell you now in 2 seconds. These things are not hard to find out.
He's firing up the Google machine.
Yeah. Oh, typical. Okay. But nobody knows the exact origin for sure. It's one of those classic British nicknames with a bunch of competing theories, mostly tied to the city's long history as a major Royal Navy base.
but it's not hard to find out, Aaron. So
Not hard to find out.
Okay.
There you go.
The nickname applies to both the city and the naval dockyard and the football team. Okay, yeah, so there we go. I'm not going to read out all the different versions, but yeah, not just the football team, and usually easy to figure out.
We've got something very similar to that because they're so obviously in my handle, the Hoosier Wrexham fan, the Hoosier is somebody from Indiana, okay, from the state of Indiana. Nobody has an actual nobody knows where the hell that actually came from. Like there's a bunch of different stories on how it may have come about, but nobody knows how it actually came about. And so like it's the nickname for the college, you know, the Indiana Hoosiers, that's their nickname. But it's like it's one of those things, like it's a name that people like you look back, like even in the Civil War, like it was used like that far back, like that nickname was used. So it's around, but nobody knows for sure where the hell it came from. A lot of different rumors, but nobody knows for sure. It's weird.
Okay, quick question here. I for S balls. Are the rules about to change, allowing more teams into the playoff race? Yes, it's not absolutely confirmed yet, but it appears as if that's going to happen. There was an initial vote basically saying, yes, we agree that we're going to extend the playoffs. They then need to format the exact rules, even though there are rumors of what the rules are, but then they have to do another formal vote. Might even be a mail-in vote. They can do that as well, just to confirm that they're happy with the changes, and then it'll be brought in. So everything is pointing that way. Not absolutely done yet, but over 90% that it's going to be done, and it will be done for next season. At the moment, yes, that's the plan. Okay, guys, extended playoffs on that bomb. Shall we get out of here and take a break? Take a little break. I'm sure we'll be around. Plenty of shows.
Sure.
We'll do something.
We might be cooking something up, people. Me and Patty were talking pre-show. Might be cooking up something exciting. Maybe. I don't know. Got to clear it with the boss.
And on that weird bombshell.
That's right.
We're not
on
telling
that
you what
bombshell.
it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Take care, everyone. See you later.
Bye, everybody.